Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we're taking a look at the New York Islanders. This is one that I am not happy to talk about, but of course I am up for the debate. I'm up for the conversation in the comment section. Guys, be civil about this, but this is something that we need to talk about because this is something that I'm not a fan of. This is not good for the sport. It's not good for this franchise in particular, and it happens to be one that I cheer for. But this is where the conversation is today, right? So this is according to Hockey Feed Instagram. This is where the link is. The NHL lifted the COVID restrictions, but Lou is having none of it. Lou Lamoriello won't allow prospect Bode Wilde to attend training camp this season due to his vaccination status. Okay, so it's a quick thing and kind of gets right to the punch. Lou Lamoriello will not allow Bode Wilde to join the Islanders organization in any capacity, whether that's training camp or playing in Bridgeport or, of course, playing in the National Hockey League because of his vaccination status. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the opposing point to my point first. And that is Lou Lamoriello has the ability with his team that he gets paid to run and has the responsibility of running to decide who plays and who doesn't. Fair. And that is in his right. That is allowed. Because again, it's more of the liability thing. And I will argue with you that it isn't a liability, but let's just go with that's the argument from Lou. Is he sees Bode Wilde as a liability to the team because if he gets COVID or whatever sickness because he's not vaccinated, that could get into the locker room, even in Bridgeport or, of course, in the NHL when he probably would come up because he is that talented. He would be a liability to the team because he is not vaccinated, and therefore, if he were to get sick, he got the sickness to his teammates, then that's where the issue is. Now, here's my problem with this. This is where I'm opposing it. So if the vaccinations do work, why does it matter whether Bode's vaccinated or not? Because then at that point, if everybody else is vaccinated and it works the way it should, he shouldn't be a liability to the team if everybody else is vaccinated and has protected themselves. It's more of a unprotection for Bode Wilde at that point, if that's the case you're making, that he's a liability. So that's kind of where I'm not in a huge fan of that in that sense. If that's your argument that it's liability, you don't have that anymore if everybody else is vaccinated and if the vaccination works the way it should. The other point is, now you're telling a player and it's different, but you're basically telling a player, if you don't do what we say, blah, 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 you cannot play. Now, there's obviously contraries to this because, again, it's Lou's team. And at the end of the day, if there's a player like Parker Witherspoon or Bode Wilde that can play an opening night as a seventh defenseman for the Islanders, which, God heaven forbid, I wouldn't want either of them to be in that spot anyway, they're going to choose Parker Witherspoon because he's vaccinated over the non-vaccinated Bode Wilde. Now, here's the other thing. And this is where things get a little bit more controversial. How far off is that from, say, segregation? And I hate to even say that because it almost sounds stupid coming out of my mouth for something like this. But how far off is that from where the NHL is pushing, we want more diversity in the game? And if you come out and say, kind of contrary to that, oh, well, he's not vaccinated, so he can't play. How far different is that from saying, well, he's so-and-so race, so he can't play? Where is the margin there? And I don't like bringing this up, but it's something that when I'm looking at this, how far off is the difference there? Because people will tell me, I'm sure you guys will, there's a huge difference between someone's race and their vaccination status. But is there? Because just because they don't agree with your mentality that you should or shouldn't get vaccinated, does that mean that he can't be given an opportunity to play in the NHL because of that? That's kind of where I think things are a little bit weird here with Lou. And we've seen Lou do things like this before in the past, not vaccination-wise. Think of the Josh Osanyi experiment. Now we've seen him in other organizations, right? He didn't make the Maple Leafs last year out of training camp because he's just not that good of a player, right? That's where we can come to at this point. But with Bode Wilde, this is again another thing where Lou is almost pushing prospects away because they aren't falling into his little cookie cutter design of what he wants, and I just don't think that's good. And you were able to make that argument when the Islanders were going to the conference finals and everything was perfect and trust the process, but the Islanders are in a little bit of adversity. They missed the playoffs last year, and you could argue if Bode Wilde is a potential top 4 defenseman in the NHL, well then why isn't he playing? Is he a player that, if he's as good as they're saying, is he being limited of an opportunity to play in the NHL because of his vaccination status? And that's where I think things are a little bit, murky. But again, I can't really think of another argument. Let me know what you guys think. What is the argument for Bode not to play for the Islanders or in the organization? Because, like I said, the most common one that I hear is liability, is that he'd be a liability to the team. But if everyone's vaccinated, then it shouldn't be an issue. So, like I said, I want to preface this because I want to have discourse in the comment section, and I'm realizing from that iconic logo for the Blackhawks video, a lot of you were very pro, but also very against it, and I'm fine with that. But when you guys answer each other's comments, guys, discussion and kind of counterpoints is good, because if you can prove the counterpoint, it proves your point more so, if you can kind of counter that argument. So I'm up for the discussion in the comment section. That's what this channel's for. I'm up for the debate, but let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys again very soon.